Listen to me. If you don't wake up right now, you will lose everything. Not just your dreams, your time, your potential, your entire future. And the worst part, it'll be your fault. You've been lied to. They told you to hope, to stay positive, to trust the process. It was all a trap. Hope is the greatest scam in human history, and it's the reason you're still broke, still weak, still invisible, in a world that only respects power. Every second you wait, another man, someone hungrier, stronger, and more ruthless than you, is taking what should have been yours. And if you don't act now, you will be left behind forever. This is your last chance to wake up. Listen closely or regret it for life. Let me tell you something most people are too scared to admit. Hope is useless without action. You've been lied to your whole life. They told you to stay positive, believe in yourself, and trust the universe. As if sitting around waiting for success to land in your lap was ever gonna work. It won't. Right now, at this very moment, another man is outworking you. While you're scrolling through your phone, he's making money. While you're hesitating, he's executing. While you're hoping for change, he's forcing the world to bend to his will. That's why you're stuck. That's why you don't have what you want. Because you still think hope will save you. It won't. Because winners don't hope, winners take action. You think the world is unfair? Guess what? It is. You think the rich have an advantage? They do. You think successful men are playing the game better than you? They are. But here's what no one wants to admit. You can win anyway. How? By doing what weak men refuse to do. Discipline, sacrifice, suffering, grinding when everyone else is quitting. That's how you win. That's how you become the kind of man nobody can compete with. But most of you will never do it. You'll watch this, feel motivated for 5 minutes, then go back to wasting time, and that's why you'll lose. Because deep down, you're addicted to comfort. You want success without suffering. You want rewards without discipline. Most people don't want to hear this, but pain is your greatest teacher. You don't grow from comfort. You don't evolve by taking it easy. You become strong by suffering. Think about the most powerful men in history. They didn't become great by hoping things would get easier. They became great by dominating, by forcing themselves to endure more pain, more struggle, more hardship than anyone else was willing to take. And that's exactly why most of you will never be successful, because you run from pain. You want to be fit, but you don't want to suffer through the workouts. You want to be rich, but you don't want to sacrifice your weekends grinding. You want respect, but you're too scared to do what it takes to earn it. Let me ask you, how badly do you want it? Because if you're not willing to bleed for it, you don't deserve it. Hope is for cowards. Action is for winners. And if you don't wake up and start acting like a man who deserves success, you will never have it. The real reason most of you are losing isn't because life is unfair. It's not because the system is rigged. It's not because you were dealt a bad hand. It's because you refuse to take full responsibility for your life. Most men today have become soft. They blame everyone else for their failures. They look at successful people and say, oh, he got lucky. No, he earned it. You think millionaires got lucky? You think world champions just had talent? No, they worked harder than you. They sacrificed more than you. They pushed through more pain than you ever have. That's why they win. That's why they dominate. And that's why you're still hoping while they're taking action. So what's it gonna be? Are you gonna keep sitting there wishing for success? Or are you finally going to stand up and take it? The world is not a fairy tale. There is no happy ending for the weak. No knight in shining armor is coming to rescue you. The world only respects power, dominance, and action. You think life is about fairness, about equality? Wake up. The strong take and the weak get nothing. That is the truth they don't want you to realize. Every second you sit around hoping for things to change, another man is out there taking what should have been yours. You see it every day. The men who drive the cars you want, live in the houses you dream about, and date the women you desire. And do you know why they have those things? Because while you were wishing, they were working. While you were waiting for motivation, they were grinding. While you were saying, tomorrow I'll start, they were executing today. This is war. And in war, there are only two types of men: predators and prey. Every single decision you make is pushing you into one of those two categories. When your alarm goes off in the morning and you hit snooze, you choose to be prey. When you skip the gym because you're too tired, you choose to be prey. When you avoid hard work and make excuses, you choose to be prey. And the problem with being prey is that the world has no mercy for the weak. Society is designed to crush the men who refuse to compete. The economy is built to keep you trapped. The distractions, social media, junk food, endless entertainment, are all designed to keep you weak and controllable. Because weak men don't take power. Weak men don't rise to the top. Weak men exist to serve the strong. And if you refuse to break out of that cycle, you will spend your entire life watching other men live the life you wanted. That is why you must become a predator. A man who doesn't wait, doesn't hesitate, doesn't rely on hope to guide his actions. You take what you want when you want because you have earned the right to do so. But that kind of power doesn't come from sitting around wishing for success. It comes from suffering for it. You want to be rich, then you better be willing to work 16-hour days while everyone else is resting. You want to be powerful, and you better be willing to sacrifice every weakness that holds you back. You want to be respected, then you better demand excellence from yourself in everything you do. That's the price of greatness. And most of you aren't willing to pay it. Hope is a disease. It's a trick they use to keep you obedient. They tell you to stay positive, to believe in yourself, as if mindset alone will make you successful. It won't. You can manifest all day long, but without action, you will remain exactly where you are. Hope without discipline is just another form of procrastination. The difference between winners and losers is simple. Winners execute, losers wait. Every time you hesitate, you lose. Every time you choose comfort over discipline, you lose. Every time you waste another day thinking about success instead of taking real steps toward it, you lose. And do you know what happens when you lose too many times? You become irrelevant, forgotten, just another weak man who wasted his potential. You look around and see men getting richer, stronger, and more powerful, and you think to yourself, why not me? I'll tell you why, because you haven't earned it. Success is not handed out like candy, it is taken by force. You have to be willing to outwork, outthink, and outlast every single person in the room. You have to be so relentless, so disciplined, so obsessed with becoming the best version of yourself that failure becomes impossible. Because let me tell you something, there is a version of you that is unstoppable, a version of you that wakes up every day and dominates, a version of you that never hesitates, never complains, never stops pushing forward. That version of you is waiting to be unleashed. But the only way to bring him to life is to kill the weakness inside you. Your emotions don't matter, your excuses don't matter, your past doesn't matter. All that matters is what you do next. Every second wasted is a second closer to death. Every moment spent in weakness is a moment you will never get back. And one day, when you're old, when you're out of time, when you realize that you wasted your life hoping instead of taking, that regret will be unbearable, because by then it will be too late. The question is, are you going to let that happen, or are you going to rise up and take control of your destiny? Because let me make one thing clear. Nobody is coming to save you. Your parents won't save you. Your friends won't save you. The government won't save you. The universe won't save you. The only person who can change your life is you. And until you fully accept that, until you take complete ownership over your fate, you will never be free. The moment you realize that your success, your power, your future is 100% in your hands, that is the moment you become truly dangerous. Because that is the moment you stop hoping and start taking. So tell me, are you still gonna sit there hoping for success? Or are you gonna stand up and take what's yours? Most men today are weak, fragile, and pathetic. They live their entire lives in fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of pain. And because they are afraid, they stay broke, stay invisible, and stay powerless. Society has trained them to be this way. From the moment they were born, they were taught to be obedient, to be nice, to wait their turn. They were told that if they just stay patient and work hard, success will come to them. Lies. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who take action without hesitation. It comes to those who are willing to sacrifice comfort, endure suffering, and refuse to quit when things get tough. But most of you will never reach that level, because most of you choose weakness every single day. Look at your life. Look at your body, your bank account, your habits. Are you proud of them? If the answer is no, then let me tell you something. You are the problem. Not the economy, not society, not bad luck. You are the reason you don't have the life you want. You are the reason you wake up every day feeling frustrated, unsatisfied, and powerless. And until you take full responsibility for that, nothing will change. You see, most people don't want to hear this because it forces them to look in the mirror and face their own failures. It forces them to accept that their life is a direct result of their own choices and that level of accountability. Most men are too weak to handle it. Weakness is a choice. You don't accidentally become broke, out of shape, and unsuccessful. You chose it. Every time you skipped the gym, every time you wasted money on nonsense, every time you avoided hard work because it was too difficult, you were making a choice. And the result of those choices is the life you are living right now. But instead of fixing the problem, most of you look for excuses. You blame the system, you blame other people, you convince yourself that the world is against you as if that somehow justifies your laziness. It doesn't. Do you think powerful men waste their time complaining? Do you think billionaires sit around crying about how unfair the system is? No. They play the game better than anyone else, and they outwork, outthink, and outmaneuver their competition. And that is exactly why they win. Because they refuse to be weak. There is nothing respectable about being weak. Society tells you that it's okay to be average, that it's okay to be mediocre, that it's okay to be content with what you have. It's not. If you are not constantly improving, constantly pushing yourself, constantly evolving into a stronger version of yourself, then you are failing. Because here's the truth, weak men get left behind. Look around you. The men who are struggling, the men who are constantly stressed, the men who are stuck in dead-end jobs, barely scraping by, they are weak. They spent their entire lives making excuses instead of taking action. And now when they look back, all they see is wasted potential. Regret is the heaviest burden a man can carry. And if you don't change, if you don't start living with discipline and intensity, that will be your future. You need to understand something. Life is not about fairness. Life does not reward good intentions. It does not care how much you want success. It only cares about one thing, what you produce. If you are weak, life will crush you. If you are strong, life will reward you. It's that simple. And yet, most of you are still sitting around waiting for some magical moment to feel ready. Let me make something very clear. You will never feel ready. If you keep waiting for motivation, you will wait forever. The only way to get ahead is to take action even when you don't feel like it. That is the difference between winners and losers. Losers wait for the right time. Winners make the time right. Losers complain about how hard things are. Winners embrace the struggle and push through it. Losers waste time on distractions. Winners use every second to improve, grow, and dominate. The real reason most of you are stuck is because you have too many distractions, too many bad habits, too much weakness. You spend hours scrolling through social media, watching other men live the life you want instead of building it for yourself. You waste your time on meaningless entertainment, on chasing short-term pleasure, on doing everything except the one thing that actually matters, putting in the work. And do you know what's going to happen if you don't change? Nothing. Your life will look exactly the same next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And one day, when you're old, when you're too weak to change, you will look back and realize that you wasted everything. But here's the good news. You still have time. If you are reading this right now, it means you have the opportunity to fix your mistake. It means you can still become strong, still become powerful, still become the man you were meant to be. But that requires action. That requires discipline. That requires being brutally honest with yourself about where you are right now and where you need to be. And most importantly, it requires killing the weakness inside you. The time for excuses is over. The time for hesitation is over. The time for action is now. You either commit to leveling up or you accept a life of mediocrity. But make no mistake, there is no middle ground. You cannot be kind of successful. You cannot be partially disciplined. You are either all in or you are nothing. Winners take, losers wait. And right now at this very moment, you have to make a decision. Are you going to be a winner or a loser? Because time is running out. And if you don't act now, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Comfort is the most dangerous addiction in the world. It is more destructive than any drug, more enslaving than any prison. Comfort is what keeps you weak, what keeps you broke, what keeps you living a life of mediocrity while other men rise above you. And the worst part, you don't even realize it's killing you. You think your life is fine. You tell yourself you'll figure it out. But deep down, in the darkest part of your mind, you know the truth. You are failing. You are not the man you were meant to be. You are not pushing yourself to your limits. You are not even scratching the surface of your potential. And do you know why? Because you've chosen comfort over greatness. Think about the most successful men in the world, the billionaires, the champions, the warlords of industry. Do you think they live in comfort? Do you think they take it easy? No, they wake up every single day and embrace the struggle. They hunt pain. They force themselves to suffer more than anyone else because they know the truth. Suffering creates power. Every time you push through exhaustion, you become stronger. Every time you do something difficult, you become tougher. Every time you reject comfort and embrace hardship, you become more dangerous. But most of you avoid discomfort like a disease. You don't push your limits. You don't challenge yourself. You live your life avoiding struggle instead of chasing it, and that is why you are stuck. Look at your daily routine. Be honest with yourself. How much time do you spend in real pain? Not fake, meaningless stress, not little annoyances, but real, gut-wrenching, character-building pain. The kind that forges men into warriors. The kind that breaks the weak and hardens the strong. Do you train your body until it feels like it's going to collapse? Do you work so hard on your goals that your brain feels like it's on fire? Do you force yourself to suffer when every part of you wants to quit? If not, then you are still living like a coward. Because let me tell you something, greatness is built on pain. The reason most of you will never reach the top is because you love your weak little comforts too much. You love sleeping in, you love junk food, you love wasting time, you love avoiding responsibility, and that love for comfort is what's keeping you chained to failure. The difference between winners and losers is simple. Winners suffer more. The man who is willing to suffer the most will always win. And if you cannot endure pain, if you cannot force yourself to embrace hardship, you will always be at the mercy of those who can. There is a reason why soldiers are put through hell in training. There is a reason why champions push their bodies beyond human limits. There is a reason why the most powerful men in history have suffered more than anyone else, because power is built in the fire of suffering. Every time you refuse to suffer, you are rejecting your own power. Every time you choose comfort over struggle, you are choosing to be weak. And do you know what happens to weak men? They get crushed. Look around at the world. The weak are stepped on, the weak are used, the weak are ignored, disrespected, and forgotten. And if you continue choosing comfort over discipline, if you continue avoiding pain, that is exactly what will happen to you. You will become another faceless nobody, another weak man who spent his entire life avoiding suffering and ended up with nothing. And when you finally wake up, when you finally realize what you've lost, it will be too late. That's why you must kill the addiction to comfort right now. Burn it out of your mind. Reject it like a poison. Start seeking pain. Start training your mind and body to thrive in suffering. Wake up early when your body begs you to sleep in. Go to the gym when you feel too tired. Work harder than ever when your brain screams for rest. Do the things that make you uncomfortable, because that is where power is created. The weak will never understand this. They will continue making excuses. They will continue convincing themselves that life should be easy. But for those of you who are ready to rise, for those of you who are willing to suffer, the path is clear. You must make pain your ally. The man who is willing to suffer the most will always have the advantage. The man who thrives in discomfort will always be dangerous. The man who embraces suffering with open arms will always win. So now the question is, are you still going to chase comfort, or are you ready to suffer your way to the top? Most men live under the greatest illusion of all. They think they have time. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, next week, next month. They believe they have all the time in the world to get their life together, to build success, to become powerful. And that lie is the reason they stay weak, broke, and invisible. Time is not your ally. It is your enemy. Every second that passes is a second you will never get back. Every day you waste is one step closer to your grave. And yet you still hesitate. You still procrastinate. You still tell yourself, I'll do it later. Later is a myth. Later is the excuse of cowards. Later is how weak men justify their failure. Look back at the last 5 years of your life. Be brutally honest. Are you significantly richer, stronger, smarter, more powerful? Or are you still in the same position, repeating the same excuses, making the same mistakes? If you haven't changed, if you haven't progressed, then you have already wasted too much time. And if you don't wake up right now, the next 5 years will look exactly the same. That is the true cost of inaction. It's not just wasted time, it's wasted potential. Every moment you delay, there is another man out there grinding, improving, and taking the opportunities you are too slow to act on. And once he takes them, they are gone. Success is not infinite, power is not unlimited. There is only so much to go around, and if you don't seize it first, someone else will. The problem with most of you is that you live like you are immortal. You think you have decades to figure things out. You don't. Time is always against you. The man who understands this moves ruthlessly. He does not wait for the perfect moment. He creates the perfect. He does not waste time overthinking. He acts. He does not sit around planning forever. He executes immediately. That is why he wins. That is why he dominates. That is why he takes everything you wish you had, because while you were hesitating, he was moving. And by the time you finally decide to start, it will already be too late. You must kill the illusion of time right now. Every day that passes without action is a day you will never get back. Every hesitation is another nail in the coffin of your potential. Most of you think you can afford to wait. You can't. The man you could have been is already slipping away. Every second wasted is a piece of him dying. Every excuse you make, every delay you allow is another part of your future crumbling into dust. And the worst part? You won't even realize it until it's too late. Until one day you wake up, look in the mirror and see a weak, pathetic version of yourself staring back. A version that could have been great but instead chose comfort, hesitation, and failure. This is the reality most of you refuse to face. You think you have plenty of time to change. You don't. The men who win in this world move fast. They don't hesitate. They don't waste their days scrolling through nonsense, trapped in entertainment, avoiding responsibility. They wake up every single day with one purpose: to get ahead. And because they move faster than you, because they act when you hesitate, they will always be ahead of you. You cannot compete with them until you learn to move like them. You cannot win until you understand that every second of hesitation is another loss. Most of you will read this and feel the weight of truth hitting you. You will feel the regret of wasted years, the anger of lost opportunities. And yet, most of you will still do nothing. You will hear this, agree with it, and then go right back to your weak little habits, because deep down, you are still enslaved by comfort. Deep down, you still think you have time, but you don't. The clock is ticking, and every moment you waste is another step closer to irrelevance. There is a version of you that you need to destroy, the weak, undisciplined, hesitant version. The version that makes excuses, that wastes time, that chooses comfort over success. That version of you is the reason you don't have what you want in life. That version is keeping you broke, invisible, and powerless. And until you kill him, you will never rise to your full potential. Most men refuse to let go of their weakness because deep down, they're afraid. They cling to their old self, their old habits, their old way of thinking, because it feels safe. But let me tell you something, safety is a prison. The more you hold on to comfort, the tighter the chains become. The weaker you stay, the further you fall behind. You have to make a decision right now. Are you going to keep living as the same pathetic version of yourself? Or are you finally ready to evolve into the kind of man who is truly unstoppable? Because understand this, the process of becoming great is violent. It requires you to destroy every weak part of yourself. It requires you to go to war against the laziness, the fear, the hesitation that has held you back for years. It requires suffering. It requires discipline. It requires a level of sacrifice that most men are simply too soft to handle. And that is why most men fail, because they refuse to kill their weaknesses. Look at the greatest men in history. The warriors, the conquerors, the billionaires, they all had one thing in common. They were merciless with themselves. They did not allow weakness to exist in their minds, in their bodies, in their actions. They hunted down their flaws and destroyed them. And that is exactly what you need to do. You need to identify every single weakness inside you and exterminate it. Are you lazy? Then train yourself to work harder than anyone else. Are you weak? Then push your body beyond its limits every single day. Are you undisciplined? Then force yourself to follow a strict routine with no excuses. That is how you win. That is how you become dangerous. That is how you take control of your life and finally start dominating. But most of you are too soft to do this. You are still making excuses. You are still telling yourself, I'll start next week. As if you have time to waste. You don't. Every second that passes is another second you will never get back. And if you don't change, if you don't start executing with the intensity of a man who is ready to take over the world, you will stay exactly where you are. Broke, weak, forgotten. That is the fate of men who refuse to evolve. And if you are not willing to kill the weak version of yourself, then that will be your future. The weak version of you loves to procrastinate. He loves to waste time. He loves the idea of success, but hates the work it requires. And as long as you let him live inside you, he will sabotage every single opportunity you have. That version of you must die. You must rip him out of your mind and bury him forever. The moment you do this, the moment you fully commit to becoming the strongest, most disciplined, most relentless version of yourself, everything changes. You will wake up with purpose. You will move with power. You will grind harder than anyone else because you will finally understand that weakness is a disease that must be eradicated. You cannot live in two worlds. You cannot be both weak and powerful. You must choose the old you or the new you, comfort or discipline, mediocrity or greatness. But understand this, you cannot keep waiting. The men who hesitate, the men who refuse to evolve, they get left behind. The world belongs to those who move fast, to those who embrace suffering, to those who refuse to let weakness infect their lives. If you are still holding on to excuses, still delaying, still playing small, then you have already lost. So now the question is, are you ready to kill the weak version of yourself? Or are you still going to let him drag you down? This is it. The moment where you either wake up and take control of your life, or you continue down the same pathetic road you've been on for years. No more excuses. No more tomorrow. No more waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. The time is now. You have been given the truth, and now you have a decision to make. Will you rise, or will you stay weak? The world does not care about your excuses. It does not care about your feelings. It does not care if you are tired, unmotivated, or uncertain. The world only respects results. And if you refuse to deliver, if you refuse to step up and dominate, then you will be nothing more than another forgotten man. A man who had potential but never had the courage to use it. You have one life, one shot to build the legacy you claim you want. But every second you waste, another man is out there taking what should have been yours. Your dream body, someone else is training harder than you to get it. Your dream business, someone else is outworking you to build it. Your dream life, another man is living it because he was willing to suffer for it while you hesitated. So let me ask you, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep waiting, keep making excuses, keep pretending that one day everything will magically fall into place? Or are you going to stand up, take action, and finally become the man you were born to be? Because in the end, there are only two types of men. The ones who take what they want and the ones who watch from the sidelines. So tell me, which one are you?